how are we going to figure out if this is going to work in your business? So I'm going to ask Dr. Michelle Boyson, Michelle, to talk us through the way that we help businesses unpack how we can apply blockchain in their business.
Thanks, Vincent, and hello everyone again. There's some cool questions coming through on the chat. We'll gather those for the Q&A session a little bit later. So this is the part that I love, and when things start making sense to me. The question you ask yourself is, why should I think about blockchain? There's a list of elements that Vincent had now quite clearly described to us that would highlight the application of blockchain. And Nicolene has given us some of the legal elements to consider around that. Now, well, those are all things to know, but how do you actually practically go about to know whether it's useful for me or not? So how we figured out to make this work, and I personally have, for the first time I heard about blockchain was 2012. So I'm probably then called a very late adopter if we look at all of this stuff already started in 1970, which means I was still in little school at that time. But be that as it may, what are the things that you start off by saying, what are the things that happen in my business? Generally, you should be able to describe your business in a number of activities. And each one of those activities, if you look on the screen, should result in some sort of an outcome. So ideally, you would do things, you would build, sell, support, provide services or products through a range of activities. And eventually you would want to measure those things and say, yeah, the business is doing fine. We're on track with our strategy. So that is what we call a level 1 process. The next level of process mapping then, and this is so easy, you could literally pull out from the printer an A4 page and write down the main activities in your business, and then what processes do I deploy to make those activities realize. So the process is more detailed. And it basically has steps in it. So you would just, the little yellow and gray and blue blocks are a collective of steps that you would undertake to make a process happen. And that process needs to contribute to your activity to bring out results. You can then, and I'm pretty sure you're quite aware of the areas in your business where there are burning points, where things aren't working the way they should be working. So simply put some icon there and say, well, potentially, these are the areas that are not working well. Next, you can say, what would I like to change? It might not be burning points, but if we could get a sale faster, if we could record something quicker, if we can get payment quicker, why don't we consider doing a change? And what we're sharing with you now is generally how you could look at your business. Now, superimpose on that, you can ask yourself, in this picture, where do I have an area where I need information security? Now, you probably say, well, it's pretty much everywhere in this process because there's information throughout this diagram that you see. Where do I actually store data? What happens in my supply chain? Which of these processes are about supply chain? And so forth. So there's 10 elements there that you could look at and then say, well, those 3 processes that were initially like the burning points, of those, at least one of them can be addressed by blockchain. Why? Because maybe it provides for secure payment, or maybe it has specific following of a piece of equipment that you have to bring into your supply chain. And if we move forward, then this picture could allow you then even to say, where can I start using cryptocurrency? Where can I consider thinking of a smart contract? And if we just make this more practical, there is a very practical way is, if you started by saying is, let's say I'm in the microchip production, distribution and support business to the left. I understand my market and the trends. And the result I want out of that set of activities is, who do we sell to, at when, at what stage? So there's a market research process that gives you that result, and so forth. So you read the story accordingly. That example should then highlight what we just discussed in the previous slide. So over here, there is, for instance, when you do market testing, there's personal information that happens there. Data security, maybe I could use blockchain there. I have a supply chain that helps me to produce things so that I can respond to the market and what clients need. And maybe I should start thinking about putting smart contracts in place, which again is also based on the blockchain. If we go to sales, why don't we start selling our wares, products and services using crypto? And again, you can see there is blockchain, and yeah, we want to do smart contracts there as well. So by now you should see that the story actually is quite simple. What happens? Where do you have risk areas, and which of those can be addressed by blockchain? And if we just superimpose that list again, I'm not sure if it's in this slide. There we go. So in this instance, we looked at items number 1, 2 till 7, and thought that those areas are relevant to the spots that we had put the icons on. And there you go, voila. This is how I could apply blockchain in my business. And basically, it addresses certain risks. It could even resolve some of your risks. So you could also look from the point of view of, let's look at where the risks in our business are. Do the risks include any one of those items that we've got listed in words there? And then can I address those risks with the blockchain? So the next question you're probably going to say is, okay, that's a paper exercise, but what does all of this cost? And what we've experienced in the past few months with clients beginning to really pull blockchain into their business processes is some of these blockchain applications already exist as a blockchain as a service type of an element. Some of them needs to be built. We all know that when you build something, it is quite let's call it an effort and a cash intensive situation. But what's really good is that more and more applications are becoming available, so that you don't have to spend this long to wait, and you basically rent the application on a month-to-month basis.